question now is how much more do we still have to go through? We're going to answer that right here. First things first, the heaviest rain that's still on its way in this evening, 2 to 3 inches is going to be our widespread total. And I know we've gotten to the point we've had a lot of storms, a lot of rainstorms, I should say, over the past few months. Actually, I was doing the math the other day. We've had eight separate events with 1 inch of rainfall. This will be our 9th and our 4th in March. May even be the biggest of all those storms too. But we still have the chance for some wintry weather in areas north and west of the city, and there will be some strong wind gusts too. Wouldn't shock me if we have some gusts on the Cape that get up to 50 miles per hour. Everywhere else 35 to 45, and that'll be mainly overnight into the early part of Sunday morning. Let's take a look at how much rain has fallen already, and what you're seeing is already an inch in many spots has fallen, especially the farther west you look here. That's 1.5 inches out there in Westfield, about 1 inch in Worcester. Orange and Keene also over 1 inch. Boston itself getting close to 3/4 of an inch, so we have a lot of rain. But the thing is, we're still expecting a widespread 2 to 3, which leaves us with another inch or two still to come, and in not a lot of time. So what that's going to do is it's going to make roads a bit slippery, but more importantly, it'll make puddling on the roads, and certainly any creeks or streams or anything small waterways are likely to overflow, especially in some of those areas that you're used to seeing it. Here's our current satellite and radar. Again, seeing some of those yellow colors out there right now. What you're seeing too is some of the pink coloration out there. I'll take a closer look at that. That's where we've had some mixing today. Now, I will say it does look like, based on the ground reports I looked at, we have weather stations that'll tell you if there's rain or sleet, freezing rain or snow falling. Everything I looked at in Worcester County was suggesting that it is just rain falling now, no longer freezing rain, though temperatures are still in the mid-30s in many of the hills to our north and west of the city. Now, southern New Hampshire up towards Keene, that is a place I looked at some reports that were suggesting snow was still falling, in fact, and you can see that blue color up towards Laconia there and into the Concord area as well, where there is some mixed precipitation. So the farther north you go, the more likely you are to run into that wintry precipitation, of course. And if you're in the mountains or know anyone who's up in the mountains, well, they're getting up to 1, even 2 feet of snow in northern New England. Just the rain for us right now. We'll look at the system as a whole, though, and what I want to point out is while we're seeing a lot of that green and some yellow color over us here in southern New England, there is still a lot behind us out here up through upstate New York and passing through Long Island. A lot of that making its way into southern New England right now in the western part of Connecticut, and that's really the worst part of our storm. It's still on its way in here, so while we've seen a lot of rain, that's where we're really going to squeeze out another inch of precip, and that is going to arrive here in the next few hours. So I'm expecting Central Mass will begin to see this by about 5, 6 o'clock, if you're in the Worcester area. If you're in the Boston area, that will really reach you closer to about 6:30, 7:30, and once it arrives, it will take a good 3 hours for it to get in and get out. So that evening drive, if you're going anywhere, I do have some concern, especially because it'll be dark, visibility will be reduced a little bit, roads will be very reflective, and we're going to have some puddling on the roads. I know driving home, there's one spot driving up 93 into Boston. There's some of those areas sort of in the left lanes that fill up with waters, and those puddles are what concern me, because whenever you hear about accidents with heavy rain, that's usually a culprit. We'll show you our travel forecast here next hour or two. We're okay, but once those roads begin to grab more water around 8, 9 o'clock, that's when we want to be a little more careful on the roadways. After about 10, 11, this system is actually out of here. There will still be standing water, so I want you to play that safe. But by tomorrow morning, we should be all good. It's really the rest of today that we're watching. And I'll show you on Futurecast too. I've explained a lot of this to you already, but what I want to point out is that as this moves out, this is 9 o'clock, by the way, you can actually see some snow out here sort of working its way into those north and western areas on the backside of the storm. Won't be a lot, but you could add that into some of those concerns with driving, as some of that will stick, especially if you're in southern New Hampshire or the higher elevations in the Worcester Hills. Berkshires, of course, will see some snow too. Here we are at midnight, though. Look at that. Sky's already clearing at midnight, guys. You could look up. Hey, look up at 12, 1 a.m. If you're going to be awake that late, you'll probably see stars in the sky, because as quickly as this came in, it's getting out of here. And that's going to be good for Sunday, because with some wind, we're actually going to dry out very quickly along with those clear skies. So good news for us there. But I'll show you what we're expecting for snow from this point onwards here. Not really much for our area unless you're in the northern part of the Worcester Hills or southern New Hampshire. And it ramps up pretty quick, I will add. So if you're in Keene, From this point onwards, you could still see another 3, 4, 5 inches of snow. Manchester closer to about 3 more inches. But again, Fitchburg, Lawrence, you may get a coating. I'm not expecting that much in Massachusetts. It's really north of the state line there. Nonetheless, that is at least something to note. Once we get through the end of the rainfall and all that, we're expecting that widespread 2 to 3 inches. You know, it's not super often that we have such a broad area of such heavy rainfall, but it's really everyone who's included on this potential for 2 to 3 inches of rain. And you can see that very clearly here, marked by the red and orange colors. I mean, no one's exempt. It's a lot of precipitation. It's a strong storm. If this was snow in southern New England, guys, we'd be talking about, oh gosh, something closer to 18 to 24 inches. It's for the mountains to enjoy this time, though. So if any of you guys are skiers, you'll get another weekend out of the season. And I figured I'd show you this too real quick. It's our 7-day forecast. We do get some sun Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Not a ton, but we at least get to see it. And then once we get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there is some variability in this forecast. So you want to keep it with us as we watch this pattern unfold. But there's a slow-moving storm system that'll be sitting over the water, and it's very possible we see some rain each of these 3 days. Now, I don't expect any of them to be soakers the way it stands right now. Friday has a little more potential than Wednesday and Thursday, but it could be more gray than sun. So, enjoy the sun that we get, and I'll bring us back to radar quickly before I wrap it up. Just make one more point. The storm as a whole has brought a lot of rain here. We've seen some snow in the mountains. We're on weather alert because of all the rain we've seen, because of some of that wintry weather, especially along the northern Massachusetts border. But we're still watching the worst of the rain begin to make its approach here. And you can see all that yellow-orange coloration out there in upstate New York, just south of Albany, and just to the west of Hartford and Connecticut as well. That's the heavy rain that's going to be moving in here as we reach those evening hours, 5 to 6 in Worcester's when it arrives. 6:30 to 7:30 in Boston, and it will continue for about 3 hours after getting in here. So be careful on the roads. We'll be watching this all evening. Again, once we get to tomorrow morning, sun's going to be right back out, but take it slow if you have anywhere to go tonight, and be especially careful if there are any of you watching from northern Mass or southern New Hampshire, where there may be some extra wintry precip before this thing gets out of here. So stay safe, guys, and we'll be here, and you want to get the latest information, again, on our app, I should add. We've been keeping you alerted there. If you had it, you know everything that's been coming before everyone else. And our website, too, we're keeping that updated, making sure that you get the latest info. So keep it with us on the app, online, here on Boston 25. And we'll be back on air again tomorrow morning at 8. So tune in for the latest. We'll see you there. Stay safe, guys.